Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, and my colleagues. I apologize. It's a day filled with hearings. There are 5 of them, and this is 3. So, but I really wanted to be here today. Let me just say, first of all, I represent the 3rd District of Connecticut. And Connecticut has historically been known as the arsenal of democracy. So these are issues that are very critically important to me. We make the finest aircraft in the world, including the Blackhawk, which is manufactured at Sikorsky in Stratford, Connecticut, which I represent. You know, you all know this. It's the Army's vertical lift platform, par excellence. Versatility, safety, effectiveness. Our soldiers know it wherever I travel, overseas, etc. I always ask about the Blackhawk, and our service people, our soldiers, sing its praises. So, because of this, the Blackhawk will play an integral role in Army aviation operations for decades to come. Secretary Driscoll, does this assessment of the Blackhawk's capabilities and importance sound right to you?
Congresswoman, directionally, yes, with the disclaimer being, again, if we look at all of our platforms and all of our systems, the right mixture of what we need in the future, we are learning these lessons daily and want to share them with you, your office, and this subcommittee. And so the problem with an all Blackhawk formation would be it cannot go far enough and fast enough to survive in some parts of the world, like Indo-PACOM, like your colleague referenced. And so we do think that for the next sizable portion of time, the Blackhawk will be part of the mix, though.
Well, I just want to be sure that you're talking about a key piece of the puzzle, the Blackhawk, for the future of the Army, given that has a cumulative 5 million combat hours, flown critical missions in diverse theaters and conditions. I think it is a critical tool, and I hope you agree with me that that is the case with the Blackhawk.
I agree.
Okay. So you noted in your testimony that the Army must remain agile, able to adapt to new challenges. I agree with that. The Blackhawk is adaptable not just in the field but technologically as well, with Army and industry having recognized the need to modernize key systems on the Blackhawk to ensure that it continues to work for the future. And I've had many conversations, all in the affirmative of making sure that the modernization of the Blackhawk continues. I would like to hear more about your forward-looking vision for the Blackhawk. How will the Blackhawk's utilization change and grow in the coming years? How does the Blackhawk factor into the Army's new transformation initiative?
Congresswoman, I appreciate that your constituency involves Blackhawk and the Americans who have made it. Our constituency is the American soldier and the taxpayer whose dollars we spend.
Let me just interrupt for 1 second. It's not just a constituency issue here, though it's very, it is. It is about the Blackhawk and what it has meant to the safety of our soldiers and the national security of this country. That is my primary goal in addressing this issue. This is not just willy-nilly a constituent question. This is overall the national security of this nation and the role and, quite frankly, the promise of a modernization of the Blackhawk, and that it will be a major piece going forward. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, so please, please continue.
I'll comment a little bit.
Please.
I've been, in the Army for close to 40 years. I've been flying on Blackhawks, got a lot of hours on the Blackhawk. Okay. It's a great aircraft. I think that right now what we want to do is actually we are going to take some of the older Blackhawks out of our formations, the Lima and Victor models. We have updated to the Mike model. We continue to upgrade. We have to upgrade all of our aviation to make sure that they can defend themselves, understand threats. So those kinds of things will continue to happen. I think the Secretary said we're going to continue to have Blackhawks. I will tell you that what we are looking, that there are ways that you can build, like for example, I do think I see drones in the future being able to pick up and actually move artillery tubes. We've done that with Blackhawks in the past, and I've been on artillery raids with those. So I think that there's other things that are going to change on the battlefield. I see Blackhawks are going to be with us for a while, but I do think we're going to have to adapt what we're doing. There just may be less Blackhawks.
Well, this is very, very troubling, because the overall commitments and conversations with the Army over the last year, including when they weren't part of the modernization piece going forward, that the Blackhawk would be a singular, not singular in that there's nothing else out there, but that modernization of the Blackhawk and providing the multi-year contracts. So I'm going to ask you this question, but again, very, very troubling as to your comments on, not reassuring those of us who have had this commitment about where the Blackhawk stands in our national security and its modernization and the investment in that modernization for the future. And I can give you a chapter and verse of conversations that I've had over the last year about the Blackhawk helicopter. But that then gets me to multi-year contracts.
I'm not aware that we're making any adjustment
Well,
to the Blackhawk contract. What I was basically describing you is how I see the battlefield evolving and how I would see us being able to do things. You were asking me if, future, it's hard to predict.
Again,
but we know we have autonomous systems that can do. That's what we were talking about.
That is troubling, because folks who preceded you were very, very clear about the role of the Blackhawk going forward in the future. So, again, I have a continued conversation about this. But that gets me to, the Army needs stability. Our workers need stability here. Multi-year contracts for the Blackhawk have been delivered. They generated significant savings for the government. Now, again, I'm concerned that if the current multi-year contract is allowed to expire in 2026 without any certainty around the next steps, that the industrial base is not going to be able to pick up and move back. So let me just ask you clearly about a multi-year contract to ensure that there is no gap in production that threatens our readiness.
I mean, I wouldn't. I think we're going to have to come back and talk to you, Congresswoman. I'm not sure I would, make a commitment.
You can't
I wouldn't make a commitment to say that we're going to build things, the same thing forever. We have to come back and look at that. Obviously, we'll have a discussion on that.
And Congresswoman,
I'm asking you about the 26 budget, multi-year contract.
I think we have, from what we have learned and what we have seen being around soldiers, I think we have had this conversation with many of our largest companies in the last week. We are unwilling to make commitments that are, in our opinion, in the best interest of soldiers and their lethality and keeping them safe if we deploy them anywhere in the world to bring them home. And so we can follow up with your office, but right now we can't answer that.
But we're going to need to have a conversation offline. Again, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, this is a very, very troubling conversation, and I will produce the background and information that I've been given about the future of the Blackhawk for our national security and the modernization and investment in that modernization. So that I will yield back. I thank you for the opportunity to be here this morning, and I will put into the record, if I can, because I also head up the aviation subcommittee here with a colleague on this committee, Congressman Strong, and we need to have answers about that. But this is very, very troubling, and I'll get back to you, but you need to get back to me. We need to have a serious conversation about going forward and what this budget will look like for 2026. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Gentlelady. Mr. Joyce.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and gentlemen, welcome. Secretary Disco, I want to follow up